Hello, darkness, my old friend. You've come to talk with me again. Sens lose 6-3 to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Isn't this wonderful? Just the thing I'd like to do to start the year. Sing about another loss.
Yeah, by the way, welcome to last place.
I need to get a new room. He is right, though. What an awful way to end 2018. 5 straight losses, just 2 wins in their last 10 games, and just 4 in 14 December contests. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. 2018 ended exactly the same way as 2017. 14 games in December, and just 4 wins for the month for the second year in a row. But at least they didn't lose 5-0 to the Bruins in their last game of the year. I guess. All of this is to say, yeah, if you look at the standings for 2019, you'll see one very sad thing. The Friendly Giant used to say, look up, look way up. Well, the Sens are saying, look down, look way down. And if you look down to the very bottom of the standings, yeah, you'll find the Sens sitting in last place. You're welcome, Colorado. As always, though, let's kick things off with lineup changes. Andy is still out dealing with a concussion, so thankfully, Marcus Högberg got another start and goal. As for skaters, the Sens didn't have any healthy reinforcements ready to return to the lineup, so the same 18 skaters who hit the ice against Washington were the same 18 skaters who hit the ice against Columbus, looking to rebound from that loss to the Capitals. The Sens did make some changes for their forward lines, though, as Guy Boucher mixed things up, hoping to spark some offense. One of the changes the Sens made was splitting up the Chucky Whitestone line. Tkachuk and White stayed together, but instead of Colin White playing in their middle, it was Chris Tierney. That meant Colin White needed a new line, and he found one, playing on the wing with Bobby Ryan and Matt Duchene. I have to say, I was not in support of Guy Boucher splitting up that line, but I could see his reasoning. What I absolutely do not agree with is White playing on the wing. Are we developing players, or are we trying to win now? I know I get frustrated when the Sens lose, but at least when they lose, there's an end game. The young players, they're learning and they're developing, and that's going to make things so they don't lose later. But taking away valuable development time from a player who's actually been pretty good this season, I have a hard time justifying that one. Maybe it's a preemptive strike to when Pajot returns, which doesn't sound like it'll be too long away, but even that, I still don't agree with that either. As bad as those lines were, wait until you hear what Boucher cooked up for his bottom 6. Ryan Dzingel, who currently sits tied for second on the Sens in goal scoring, was moved to the third line to play with Mikhail Bodker. That pair isn't bad, but what is bad? Their center was Tom Pyatt. What? Tom Pyatt on your third line? Are you joking? Better yet, Tom Pyatt as a center? Tom Pyatt has been a member of the Ottawa Senators for 3 seasons, and I remember him playing properly in the center position exactly 0 times in that span. Pyatt has spent virtually his entire Sens career playing on the wing, yet now, in his 3rd season, and in the midst of his worst stretch of hockey, you decide that's a good time to play him at center? Oh, and better yet, play him at center on a line with Ryan Dzingel and Mikhail Bodker? Dzingel of his 15 goals and 27 points, and Bodker of his 5 goals and 23 points? They're going to play on the same line as Tom Pyatt, who has 0 goals and 2 assists this season? Have we given up? Is that what's happening now? Because it sure feels like it. Just a friendly reminder, you don't have your first round pick. By giving up on the season, you're helping another team! You don't need to do that! What an awful line. You have guys like Colin White, Nick Paul, Zach Smith, they can all play center. But no, Tom Boucher plays there instead. Your prodigal son is getting old. It's time to move on. And so, with the Sens needing to make some lineup changes, why not throw out any logic, tear apart your best line, and start putting players out of position? Also, you can have a 4th line of Smith, Paul, and Rodevald. 2 centers on your 4th line. Also, you can have none on the 3rd line. Does anyone else see a problem with that? And with the teams playing on New Year's Eve, it looked like both would be rather out celebrating, as it was a quiet first period with just 12 total shots. Both teams have some chances, neither find the back of the net, and we head to the second period, still tied at 0. Things do pick up a little in the second. The Sens can't score on a power play, but capitalize on the man advantage. Right when the penalty expires, Tierney carries the puck into the Blue Jackets zone, wheels around the goal, throws the puck to Ryan at the top of the circle, he slides it back over to Tierney at the other circle, Tierney makes a fake, sends a cross-ice backdoor feed to Dzingel, he roofs it over Bobrovsky, and the Sens lead 1-0. What a passing play by the Sens. All too often, their defense has been picked apart this season, and on this play, they were doing the picking apart. Quick puck movement, finding the seams, and making shot fakes. You couldn't have asked for a better shift.
No, but you could 2 shifts later.
Would you cut it out?
Nah, I love tormenting you.
1:21 after Dzingel made it 1-0, the Blue Jackets return the favor in almost the exact same way. Dubois carries a puck into the Sens zone, goes cross-ice to Panarin, he goes back across the ice to Werenski, he tips it by Hogberg, and it's 1-1. 3 defenders back, playing a 3-on-3. All you need to do is man up. God forbid you do that. White and Lajoie stand in the middle of the ice. Neither covers anybody. That allows Werenski to get free backdoor, and that gives him an easy goal. Just a thought. The Sens are looking for a name for their new dog, and I'd like to make a suggestion. How about cover the man in front of your net? It could be like subliminal messaging. Anytime anybody's saying anything about the dog, all the players will hear, cover the man in front of your net. And hopefully, just maybe, it'll start to sink in, because nothing else has so far this season. Thankfully, it doesn't get any worse in the second, and we head to the third, still tied at 1. But in the third, it gets so much worse. Seth Jones sends a shot on goal. It gets tipped in front by Cam Atkinson. The puck goes off the post, bounces back out, lands on the stick of Dubois. He bangs it in the empty net, and the Blue Jackets lead 2-1. 2 guys left open in front of the net, and a lost foot race. Nothing ever changes. Then Dubois spins and throws a shot from the sidewall towards the Sens goal. Bounces off the skate of Ceci, gets by Hogberg, and it's 3-1 Jackets. Just outworked like 3 Sens players to get that goal. It's just too dang easy all the time. At least the Sens would respond. Bodker carries it in, throws it back to the point to Boro. He sends it on goal. Ryan tips it. It bounces off Savard, gets by Bob, and it's 3-2 Columbus. The hockey gods giveth, and the hockey gods taketh away. This goal was a perfect example of that. 21 seconds after the Sens got an unlucky bounce off the skate of Ceci, they get a lucky bounce off the leg of Savard, and we're 1 goal apart, again, with a few minutes to play. The Sens then get a little bit of a lucky break on a no-goal call, as Anthony Duclair takes the puck hard to the net, gets shoved into the goalie by Max Lajoie, hits Marcus Hogberg, pushes him backwards, also hits the net, and knocks the net off its moorings just as the puck's about to cross the line. We'll take that one. And a few minutes later, that no-goal call would prove huge. Duchesne sends a cross-ice backdoor pass to Dzingel. He taps it by Bob, and it's 3-3. What a feed from Duchesne. Thanks to that pass, we're tied at 3 with less than 6.5 minutes to play.
Oh, you poor soul!
Oh, no. What do you mean?
The Jackets scored 3 times in the last 2 minutes to turn a 3-3 tie into a 6-3 win!
Yeah, good joke. Even the Sens aren't capable of doing something like that.
It's not a joke!
Nope. Not a joke. Dubois carries it in, leaves it for Atkinson, he sends it in the middle to Werenski, he tips it over Hogberg, and the Blue Jackets lead 4-3. Voulez-vous s'il vous plaît couvrir le devant du filet? It hasn't worked in English, so I thought I'd try it in French. Speaking of the front of the net, Hogberg would leave that area about a minute later. And guess what happened? Atkinson outraces Lajoie to the puck, picks it up in the neutral zone, wheels into the Sens zone all alone, taps into the empty net, and the Blue Jackets lead 5-3. If that wasn't bad enough, the Sens tried the old, here's a free goal gag again. And guess what? Columbus said, well, thank you very much, and took another free goal. Josh Anderson picks up the puck at his own goal line, turns, fires it down the ice, hits the empty net for the easiest 200-foot goal you'd ever have, and Columbus leads 6-3. That goal brings to a close a miserable 2018 calendar year for the Sens, who posted a record of 31-48-6, an 82-game pace of 65.6 points. Not exactly my idea of a good time. The most disappointing thing is, we don't feel like we're in any better a position now than we did 12 months ago, and we don't even have our first round pick to make things better. Let's just get into good news, bad news. The Sens did some pretty good things, including managing to turn the puck over just 3 times according to NHL.com. So they managed the puck really well, but something else stood out to me. Guy Boucher created absolutely ridiculous lines, and even he knew they were terrible because he didn't keep them all game long, and that is the good news. I ripped on his lines to start, and he deserved it. They were about as bad as they could have been. When you see a coach put a line together, you expect he's going to keep it together for a while, no matter what that line looks like. But in this case, he didn't. And while that can be a concern for the future, in this particular case, because of how poor those lines were, it wasn't a concern, and it was the right move. Tom Pyatt and Ryan Dzingel started the game on the same line. Dzingel played 145 on the power play, and Pyatt played 134 on the penalty kill. So both had nearly the exact same amount of special teams time. But when you compare their total ice time from the game, Dzingel nearly doubled his total ice time. Nick Paul also played very infrequently, and so too did Jack Rodevald. And yes, in the past they've complained about Ottawa's lack of depth, and that's a concern in this one. But specifically regarding this game, I'm glad to see Boucher not trying to jam a square peg into a round hole. Sure, Dzingel scored twice, but neither came with Pyatt on the ice. And sure, Pajärvi had a better face-off percentage than natural centers Duchesne, White, and Smith, but he only had a 50% power play time, only had 4 face-offs, only won 2 of them, and his 13 shifts on the ice. The lines weren't constructed very well to begin this game, and Boucher was quick to realize that, and quick to change things up, and in this case, that is good news. Now, for the bad news. The Sens gave up 5 third-period goals, and blew a late chance to get at least a point, and that is the bad news. We're trying to stay out of the lose for Hughes race. At least I thought we were. But after last night's game, I'm not so sure. 5 third-period goals against is absolutely unacceptable. And that goes for the players as well as the whole coaching staff. I know it was only 3 goals and 2 empty netters, but it doesn't matter. I blame the players for giving up 3 goals. 3 goals in a period is too many. And I blame the coaches for giving up 2 others and basically handing the game away with those goals. It was a 1-1 hockey game, and you lost 6-3 thanks to 1 period. Even without the empty net goals, the Sens still scored as many goals in the whole game as the Jackets did in 1 period. It's just awful, and it's not good enough. And then to have a 3-3 game with 2 minutes left and hand it away, it's just so frustrating. 1 mistake, and that's all it takes. But in the late dying minutes of a tie game, aren't you supposed to be extra aware? I thought the idea at that point was to milk the game, get to overtime, get your point, and then once you were there, worry about the second one. It's not like Columbus had anything pressing to play for. They didn't have to win that game in regulation. You just let them do it. A late goal against to cost the team a point, and 5 third-period goals against is just not good enough, and that is the bad news. Next up, the Sens return home to kick off their 2019 schedule with the first of 2 matchups against the Vancouver Canucks. In a rare twist, the Sens actually come into that matchup as the better head-to-head team of late, having won 5 of their last 7 games against the Canucks. Despite coming into the season with low expectations, the Canucks have been pleasantly surprising so far this season, posting a record of 19-19-4 to sit 2 points behind the Dallas Stars for the final playoff spot in the West. Prior to their 4-0 loss to the Devils last night, the Canucks had also won 3 of 4, with their lone loss coming 1-0 against the Western Conference leading Winnipeg Jets. And if the Sens have any hopes of picking up a win, it'll start with shutting down Calder Trophy favorite Elias Pettersson and sniper Brock Besser. It won't be an easy task. See you Wednesday night.